Did you watch the video? What I just asked you to watch about the abstract class implementation? Or all these classes, figure class, cone class, circle, triangle, rectangle. Are you clear with the process? Any doubts in this? Okay, understood now how to use abstract classes in your real-time applications? Okay, guys. The next topic is going to be interfaces. Already in the last class, we discussed about the interfaces. Interface contains only abstract methods. Interface supports multiple inheritance. All these particular points are clear. Last class, how to define interface, everything I said you. Now, how to define an interface in our project? If at all you want to define an interface in your project, just like a class template, guys, watch it. Just like a class template, we have interface template. We can use this interface template. Give a name for it. I want to give the name as math1.cs. Math1.cs. Okay? But basically, it's a general convention, guys. What do you know? We prefix the interface names with I. To say it's an interface, we prefix the interface names with I. So I'm giving the name as imath1.cs. Yeah, guys, watch. One interface is added. Now in this, I want to define the methods. Void add int x comma int y. Last class I said, you see, in abstract class, if you write the same code, you're required to write public abstract void add. But in interface, simple void add is enough because default is public and default is abstract. Void sub int x comma int y. You cannot inherit a class. You cannot inherit a class. Fine. Int x add and sub. I have defined two methods in this here, add and sub. I want to define another two methods also, multiply and divide. Multiply and divide. But I wanted to show you multiple inheritance with interface, guys. I wanted to show you multiple inheritance with interface. So to show you multiple inheritance with interface, observe it. I'll just go for adding another interface here. imath2. imath2 is the interface what I'm adding. So in this, I'm writing void multiply int x comma int y, and void divide int x comma int y. So totally 4 methods are there, and we defined in 2 separate interfaces. And mainly what I wanted to show you, I said, yeah, multiple inheritance with interfaces. So now let me add a class. To relate, see, basically to understand it better, I'm giving the name of the class as CLS Math. CLS Math. The class name is Math only. The CLS prefix I used to tell it the interface. It's a class. Just like we used the I here. Here I am using CLS to tell it's a class. Okay. Now this class I want to inherit from imath1 and imath2. See, multiple inheritance is supported. We can inherit any number of interfaces like this. We can make any number of interfaces as a parent like this. And now we require to give the implementation for all the methods now. How many methods are there? For totally 4 methods. We can give an implementation for all the methods. We have 2 different ways of implementations, guys. One is normal implementation. Second one is explicit implementation. I repeat, we have 2 different ways to implement them. One is a normal implementation and one is an explicit implementation. So what is this normal implementation and what is this explicit implementation? Normal implementation means I'll show you both the 2 things, how to implement a method normally and how to implement explicitly. See, public void add into x comma into y. Console.writeLine x plus y. Guys, I implemented the add method. I want to implement the subtract method also. Okay, this is normal implementation, guys. What is the explicit implementation here? Void imath1 dot sub. And basically this is called as explicit implementation. We call this as explicit implementation. So we can write the implementation any of the two ways you want. A normal implementation can be done, or either an explicit implementation can be done. But still we are getting an error. What is the error? See, either you require to follow both normal implementations or both explicit implementation. What is the explicit implementation? Explicit implementation means we are just going to prefix the interface name before the method. This is called explicit implementation. This is called normal implementation. So if you want to give an implementation like this, if at all you just wanted to give an implementation like this, it is still telling you okay, the method name is wrong here. That's why you got the error. So method name is add a double d, I lowercase. Yeah, see now. You are given one method in normal implementation and one method explicit implementation. So did you understand the difference between the two? Normal implementation and explicit implementation. When do we use explicit implementation? I'll tell you. Normal implementation means just we write like this. Explicit implementation means we require to prefix the interface name before the method name. That's all. We require to prefix the interface name before the method name. That's called explicit implementation. So here we'll have a doubt. Sir, when do we use this explicit implementation? Yeah, I'll tell you when do we use explicit implementation, but that is normal and explicit implementation. But generally what we use is normal implementation only. Explicit implementation is used in specific scenarios, that's all. No modifier required because already you said imath1 there and the interface methods are already public. No need to say public again, Dinesh. Okay, but in normal implementation, public is mandatory. Why it is mandatory? Because why it is mandatory? It is mandatory because it is a why is it is mandatory for normal methods? Because the default scope for the members of a class is private. If I don't write public here, this is considered like a private method. An interface is giving error. See, interface is telling you did not see. CLS math does not implement interface member add, and CLS math dot add cannot implement an interface member because it is not public. I cannot take it as an implementation because it is not public, guys. So here compulsory you require to write public. No, in normal implementation. In explicit implementation, because we are telling the interface name here, interface members are already public, so no need to write public. If you write public, error will come. If I write public here, I'll get error. Okay. So generally we go for normal implementation only, guys. When to go for explicit implementation, I'll tell you. Okay. So I just gone for giving an implementation for the two methods. Next, you're required to give the implementation to methods of imath2 also, na? You're required to give an implementation to imath2 also. I'll tell you a simple way to implement here because without manually typing each and everything, tomorrow there are 10 methods in this. Oh, you don't remember all the 10 names now? There are 10 methods in this here. How do you remember the names and signatures of all the 10 methods? It's complicated. So to overcome this, we have an option. Right click on the interface, you'll find an option called quick actions and refactorings. If you right click on this, you'll find an option called quick actions and refactorings. Select this. If you select this, it will show you two options here. See, one is implement interface, one is implement all members explicitly. Did you understand? If I click on this, it will generate these two methods to you. If I click on this, it will generate these two methods to you. See there, explicit implementation doesn't have public, interface names are prefixed. In normal implementation, it is public, interface numbers are not prefixed. Did you guys understand this? Once you click on this, it will generate the methods to you. Once you click on this, it will generate the methods to you. The methods are automatically generated for you. You can now go there and simply write the body of the methods. Yeah, just to go there and write the body of the methods, enough. So this is how you go for implementing the methods of an interface. Come now, static void main. Create the instance of your class, CLS math, obj, CLS math C is equals to new CLS math child class instance, C dot add, call the methods. C dot sub, C dot multiply, and C dot divide. Console dot read. CLS math. Called all the methods. What's your question, Srikanth? How can we overcome the multiple entry point without commenting the main method? Why to comment the main method? Am I commenting the main method every day? Huh? Am I commenting the main method? What are you observing, guys? What are you observing in the classroom every day? You go to the project, edit project file. You go to edit project file, and here you're required to set the startup object now. Yes, Dinesh. Yes, Dinesh, we can do. You're working on .NET Core or .NET Framework? I did not ask you which version of the Visual Studio. Your project is a .NET Core or .NET Framework? You opened a framework project. I asked you to watch a video, Srikanth, and you did not do that. I asked you to watch a video working with Visual Studio on YouTube now. Well, then you did not do that. Without watching the video, you're asking this question. If you're working on framework, you're required to select your project, and here you'll be finding the properties option. Click on that. That will open project property window, and here you'll be finding startup object. And from here, you're required to set it. Okay, guys. You can observe it yeah. And why are you working on .NET Framework? Take .NET Core projects, yeah, not framework project. Okay, I just implemented all the things, and I just been running up here. Okay. Fine, I'm just getting the appropriate output to .NET Framework and .NET Core. I'm just going to get the appropriate output here. Well and good. Now, so we got it. Uh, yeah. See, this class is implementing two interfaces. What are the two interfaces? IMATH 1 and IMATH 2. Suppose if at all this class wants to inherit from another class, if this class wants to inherit from another class, it can inherit. It can inherit, guys. How many classes can it inherit from? Copycats, all two, 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 two. One only, na? What multiple? You can have only one parent class only, na? How many classes can it inherit from? I asked. One only. Last day only you learned. You can have only one parent class. Interfaces can be n number. Class can be one only. If you want, you can inherit from one class. Any one class. Okay? And see, I want to inherit from the program class. Program class is the first class in our project. Program class is the first class in our project. I want to inherit from the program class. I can inherit. But suppose if we want to inherit, if you want to inherit, see, I'm putting a comma here and I'm trying to write program. I'm trying to write program, but I'm getting error. Why I'm getting error? Because see here it is telling you base class program must come before any interface. It should come before any interfaces. Means in the hierarchy, if you want to inherit from a class, class name should come first and afterwards interface name should come. Understood? Okay. See, I don't want to call any members from it. Just to show you an example, I shown you, that's all. If I don't do this class, this also, this class will inherit from object. If I don't do this also, this class will inherit from object, na? I inherited from program just to make you understand tomorrow without confusion. I shown you. First you require to write class names and afterwards you require to write the interface names. Okay, guys. Next. Can I create the instance of an interface? Guess, what are you thinking? Can we create the instance of an interface? Yes or not? Are brainless fellows, you cannot create the instance of an abstract class, but you can create the instance of an interface. Use your common sense first. You cannot create the instance of an abstract class. Abstract class at least contains some non-abstract methods. But when abstract is there, you cannot create the instance. Then how will you create the instance of an interface now? See, abstract class is only having mutual, that only cannot be created. How interface instance can be created? Yeah, you cannot create. But reference creation is possible. Reference creation is possible. IMATH 1 is equals to C. IMATH 2 is equals to C. Both are created by using C only? Yes. Why? Because CLS math is a child class for both. So using C only, I can initialize I1 as well as I2 also. IMATH 1 and IMATH 2 also. Say here I1 dot add, I1 dot sub, I2, I2. Rate this, guys. Points to ponder. Rate that. Yeah. Interfaces are also for child classes only. I'll tell you what is the use of interface. We'll talk about it. Wait. Are you guys clear with this, each and every point? Oh, sorry, guys. Sorry. Guys, look, all of you, we have just been looked into the process how to define and implement an interface. Fine, well and good. And where do we use these interfaces in the real-time applications? Where do we use these interfaces in the real-time applications? Let's try to understand about this. Where interfaces are used in real time. Okay. So if you want to understand that where interfaces are going to be used in the real time, guys, just observe this. Observe this where the interfaces will be used up in the real time. See, tomorrow when you're developing an application, when you're just developing an application, I explained to you about our banking system ATM application. I explained to you about the banking system ATM application. Okay. So we just been understood about the banking systems, ATM application, like about our ATM application, like what is it and all the things. And in that ATM application, guys, in that ATM application, um, we just been discussing about this. where the customer class will be present here, where the class means the business logic class will be present on which computer? Which server? Database server, huh? Uh, application server, yeah. Application server, yeah. That's what I just explained you. That will be present for you on the application server. Okay. So we have a database server. On this database server, we'll be having the tables, and we have our application server. On the database server, what we have? Our customer table. And here we have the customer class. And this is the ATM machine. And here we have the UI, the user interface. User interface. Okay. And we discussed like this UI will be calling the methods of the customer class. And this customer class will be performing the actions on the database, right? Okay. So that's what we learned basically. The UI will be calling the methods of the customer class. And then the customer, when the customer class is going to be called, um, when the UI calls the customer, automatically the customer class will be performing the actions on the database. Okay, that's what exactly we have just learned up in the previous session. That's what we learned up in the previous session actually. How to call the methods. Fine, guys. Now, the point here to be understood is um, the point here to be understood is um, when the instance where the customer class instance will be present on the server side, where the customer class instance will be present on the server side. I explained you in the last class. I explained you server side. But with that instance, how can the client call the methods? With that instance, how can the client call the methods? Reference. Yeah, reference. What did I say? An instance is created on the server, and once the instance is created with the server, immediately a reference is created and sent to client computers, and the client will use that reference to call the members of the class. That's what I explained you now. Okay. So, but the point here, what happens here, the point or the question that arises here is, first, what did I say? The client will swipe the ATM card here. When the client will swipe the ATM card in the machine will read the customer ID, sends to application server. Application server will create the instance of the customer class and sends a reference to ATM, right? First, what happens? Client will swipe the ATM card here. Machine will read the customer ID. Machine will read the customer ID. Okay. So first step, client swipes ATM card on ATM machine. This is the first thing what happens. Second, machine reads the customer ID. Sends customer ID to application server. Application server creates instance of customer class using the ID. The data is loaded from database and initializes the fields of the class. Next, a reference to the customer instance is created and sent to clients. Clients can call, sends to ATM. Now, clients can call the methods of customer class using the reference sent by application server to perform their transactions. Are you clear, guys? But now I have a doubt in the seventh point. What is this? What will the server send you? What will the server send you? Reference of customer class, right? Reference of the customer class. The server will send you the reference of the customer class. Okay. Answer my question. There is a method. The method returns a string. How to capture it? Come on, you are fast. There is a method. The method returns a string. The return type of the method is string. How to capture the result? In string property. What is string property? I did not understand. Oh, you will become software engineers and change of the company's fate in the future. You are going to become software engineers and change the fate of the companies in the future. You don't know fundamental question. Brainless fellows, by declaring a string variable, yeah. Simple answer. By overriding that string method. Why you want to override that string method, yeah? You want to override. What is my question? A method returns a string. How to capture the value? Simple common sense is enough to answer this question. By declaring a string variable, I can capture the value. Understood, eh? By declaring a string class variable, by declaring a string class variable. Okay. The method returns a integer. The method returns a integer. How do you capture? Integer variable. Perfect. Now the server returns a customer. The server returns a customer. How do you capture? Come on, concentrate. The server returns a customer. How do you capture? By declaring a customer variable. Simple common sense, yeah, by declaring a customer variable. Okay, guys, are you clear now? Now see. Application server will send you what? Application server will send you what? Customer reference. To capture it, do I require to declare a customer variable on the class on the ATM or not? Here, do I require to capture or declare or not? Customer customer R1 is equals to, okay, reference sent by application server. This is how I should capture. Are you clear, guys? But to declare this variable, do I require to have the customer class on the ATM machine or not? To declare this variable, do I require to have the customer class on this ATM machine or not? Can you declare a variable of any class without the existence of the class? Huh? Can you declare the variable of a class without the existence of a class? You cannot now. So if you want to do that, customer class should be present on this computer or not? But what did I say on that day? On this computer, we don't have the customer class. Customer class will be installed on the application server only. Yes or not? Here we don't install the customer class. Customer class will be installed on the application server only. If customer class is installed on the application server, how can I capture this now? Can I do this? Come on, guys, can I do this? Without a class, can I do this? Oh, yes, sir. Again, Srikanth and Rahul, you're telling yes, sir. Kali Prasad, brainless fellows. After telling the whole story again, you say yes, sir. That clearly I said to you. The class is not present here. How do you create a variable? I can't do this now. I can't do this. Why I can't do this? Because the class is not existing on the ATM machine now. Got it, huh? I can't do this. One way I can capture is, I can capture it like this. How? Object obj is equals to, because obj object is a parent class and any child class instance can be assigned to parent class variable. Object is a parent class, any child class can be assigned to a parent class variable. So is this valid? Is this valid or not? Yeah, this is valid. Object can hold anything, guys. Object can hold anything. It can hold anything. But problem is, even though it can hold anything, can I call the methods of the customer class by using obj? I can capture it. But can I call the methods of the customer class? No. Why? Parent class reference, even created by child, cannot access pure child class members. Remember, huh? Pure child members cannot be accessed. When it can access? When it can access? Overridden members can be accessed, but it cannot access the pure child class method. On that day in the customer class, do you remember we discussed about some few methods, get balance, withdraw, deposit, funds transfer. All these are pure child class members. All these are pure child class members. When they are pure child class method, OBJ cannot call it. So even though if I capture it as object OBJ also, no use. Even though I can capture it as object OBJ also, no use, guys. Why no use? Because everything is a pure child class member. Are you clear till now what I explained you? Now the question is how to resolve this problem, sir? How to resolve this problem, sir? This is the place where interfaces comes into picture. This is the place where interfaces comes into picture. What is this? Whatever methods you want to define in the customer class, whatever methods you want to define in the customer class, first what you'll do, first what you'll do is declare all those methods in the interface. Whatever methods you want to define in the customer class, the withdraw method, deposit method, whatever it is, all these particular methods, whatever we are planning to do, first declare all the methods in an interface like this. Public interface iCustomer. Okay, here I'm declaring all the methods. What? Double get balance, void withdraw, double amount, void deposit, double amount, void funds transfer, int destination ID, comma, double amount. Do you remember these methods, guys? Public class customer colon iCustomer. Declare fields representing the attributes. Define a constructor to initialize the attributes. Define a constructor to initialize the attributes. Implement all the abstract methods of the interface. Implement all the abstract methods of the interface here. Did you understand the process? Did you understand this one first? You'll have a doubt now. Why to do like this? Okay, why to do like this? Why are we doing like this? I'll tell you. Interface is lightweight or heavyweight? Interface is lightweight or heavyweight? Why you want to declare interface name and class name same? Ankit, first tell that, I'll tell you we can do it or not. It's a lightweight. Class is lightweight or heavyweight? Class is lightweight or heavyweight? This is heavyweight because we'll be writing a lot of logic in this. This is heavyweight code. Okay. So tomorrow, if I put this class on the client computers, what is the drawback? What is the problem? Two problems are there. What are the two problems? One, this is heavyweight. This is heavyweight. it will consume a lot of client resources. Performance will be coming down. Second drawback is whenever there is a modification, I require to update all the client computers. Think yourself, tomorrow 10,000 client computers are there, updating all the 10,000 client computers. Is it easy? No. Okay. Now tell me, interface is lightweight or heavyweight? Lightweight. And tomorrow, will you make modifications in the interface? Tomorrow, if modifications occur, modifications will occur in the logic. There is no logic in the interface at all. Where is the logic here? Logic is in the class. Does the interface contains logic? When interface doesn't contain the logic, why will modifications occur? Rare cases, if at all you want to add a new method, modifications may occur. But existing methods only, if you want to modify the logic, changes will never occur in the interface. Even though modifications occur, it is lightweight only now. Even though modifications occur, it is lightweight, so easy to install on the client system, and the client system performance also will not be affected. Are you getting me? So what we do, here, what we install, application server contains customer class and iCustomer interface. What will this computer get? UI and iCustomer interface. All the lightweight components here. UI is also lightweight only. Why? It doesn't have any logic, only method calls. UI contains only method calls, and iCustomer contains only method declarations. No logic. Logic is moved to application server. Guys, now tell me, what do the ATM machine contains? UI and iCustomer interface. Tell me, guys, can I do this now? Can I do this? Yes or not? Yeah. Now tell me, with this OBJ, can I call the methods of the class now? With this OBJ, can I call the methods of the customer class now? Yes, we can call. Why? Because they are all overridden members. They are all overridden members. Because they are all overridden members, we can easily call them by using OBJ. I hope you guys are clear. Understood the use of interface in the real-time applications? When you wanted to build a distributed application, so compulsory this interface should be present on the client system. See now, a reference of the customer instance is created and sent to ATM machine. Okay, now what is the second step? ATM machine captures the reference by using an interface variable. By using iCustomer interface variable. Which will become a reference. iCustomer interface variable, which will become a reference after capturing. Okay. Now this is the 8th step. What? Now clients call the methods of customer class using the reference. Reference of the interface iCustomer that is created. Come on, guys, sum up. Come on, read it now. Read all the 8 points again if you want. Interface use is this only, Biswaranjan. This is only interface use. What is your question? There is no way to implement interface in the project. I did not understand your question. See guys, in our yesterday's exam, in your video, if you just watch the video, what I given to you about abstract classes. If you watch the video, what I given to you about the abstract classes, like a figure class is the abstract class there, right? Figure class, circle, right? See in that class, if you have only methods, if you have only abstract methods, you can also use an interface there. If you have only abstract methods, we can also use interface there. Did you catch my point? But there are fields also present now. There we have fields also. Did you watch the video, Vishwaranjan? What? No, sir. What I'm clearly telling you, if the figure class is the parent there, the figure class is the parent. If it has only abstract members, you can replace the class with interface also. But do you have only abstract members, guys? We have fields also now. That is why I take an abstract class there. But tomorrow I don't have any fields. All are abstract methods only. I can take an interface there then. So depending on the requirement, our requirement based on what you want, we will be using that. That's all. But the actual usage of interface is this one. The actual usage of the interface is this one. This is what I explained to you. This is the actual use of the interface. Okay? Fine, guys. The next thing what we learn is, okay, what we learned here, basically what we learned, multiple inheritance is supported by interfaces, right? Multiple inheritance is supported by interfaces. Yes or not? Okay, multiple. But you said multiple inheritance is not supported with classes. Sir, you said multiple inheritance is not supported with classes because of ambiguity problem. But don't we have the ambiguity problem with interfaces? This can be your doubt now. Could you answer 2 to 3 lines to exact use of interface? After listening to the whole story, who is the hero of the movie? If you ask, what shall I say? I was telling you now, interface is used in case of distributed application developments. We use interfaces in case of distributed applications to declare all the methods under it and then implement in the class. We use them in the distributed applications to declare all the methods in it and implement in the class, so that this interface will be sitting on the client computer. This interface will be sitting on the client computer and helps the client in two ways. Sorry guys, I did not tell you one point here. Okay, Mr. Ranjan, for asking this question, thank you. I did not tell you another point there. Just a second. What did I explain you? I explained you. Interface can hold the child class reference on the UI now. Yes or not? Interface will hold the reference of the child class in the UI now. There is another usage of the interface, guys. What is the other usage, you know? The UI wants to call the methods of the class. The UI wants to call the methods of the customer class. But if the UI wants to call the methods of the customer class, does it require to know what is present in the customer class or not? Hmm. Yes or not? The UI requires to know the methods of the customer class. Na? The UI, without knowing how do you call, you should know. Remote latichi. Oh, developer knows everything. You will dream it. Who are you, yaar? I did not ask about developer. I'm asking about UI. Who talked about developer here? I talked about the UI. Okay. The UI required to know the methods of the customer class. The UI will identify the methods of the customer class by looking into the interface only. Did you get my point? The UI will identify the methods of the customer class by looking into the interface only. What I am talking and what are you talking here? I am not talking about end user. I am not talking about end user. End user doesn't require to look. End user will have buttons. He will click on the button. That's all. End user will have a button. End user will click on the button. But first understand, if end user clicks on the button, end user is not calling. UI is calling. End user only clicks on the button. Who will call the method? End user clicks on the button. Who will call the method? UI calls the method. So UI required to know here. UI required to know here. Okay? UI requires to know. How will the UI know? UI knows by looking into the interface. On the client computer, what we have, I said you. On the ATM machine, what we have, I said. UI and iCustomer. UI will be looking into the interface to know the methods of the class. Got the point, guys? UI will be looking into the interface to know the methods of the class. Because what did I say? Every method is declared in the interface and then implemented in the class. Okay? Suppose there is a method in a class, there is a public method in the class, but not declared in the interface. There is a public method in the class, but not declared in the interface. If that is the case, UI cannot call that method, guys. Did you understand? There is a public method in the class, but that method is not declared in the interface. If that is the case, UI cannot call that method. UI can call what methods? UI can call only the methods that are present in the interface. If that is not in the interface, UI cannot call it. Okay, so this is the second usage of the interface. One is to hold the reference of the customer class on the client computer. Second one is to demonstrate what are the methods of the class to the UI. Okay, so guys, coming back to our discussion, yeah, we are talking about multiple inheritance. Where will you create the reference of the class? You want to call it from the server, huh? Where you want to call it from? On the UI, you cannot create the reference of the class. On the UI, you cannot create the reference of the class. Are you listening from the first or joined in the middle? Are you listening from the first or joined in the middle? Then what is this? I very clearly said, application server will create the instance and send to UI. To capture that class should be there now. How do you declare a variable without the existence of a class? Application server will create a instance, sends to client computer, sends to the client computer. Client required to capture that reference. Client required to capture that reference. What should be present on the client computer? Guys, answer my question. What did I say? Application server will create the instance of the customer class and sends to client computer, UI. So to capture that, what should be present on the UI? Customer class. And what did I say? Array, we cannot install this class on the client. This is heavyweight, this much story I said you. So that's why without installing the customer class, what are we installing? Interface. Through interface will capture. No, sir, I want to capture with class. You need to install the class on the client computer. If you install the class on the client computer, then only you can create a variable and capture the reference. Without installing the class, you cannot do that. But in real-time applications, we don't do that. If you say, I want to do it, do it. No one will stop you. It won't burden the server. It will burden the client machine. It will burden the UI, not the server. Yeah. Because you understand, not like many clients. Can you imagine the configuration of a ATM system will be very low, you know that? The configuration of the ATM system will be very low, yeah. Very low configured systems. Why? Array, there will be only one application running from morning to evening. 256 MB RAM is more than enough for that. 256 MB RAM is more than enough for that. 80 GB hard disk is very high for it. 80 GB hard disk is very high for that. And also understand here, you increase the configurations. If you increase the configuration, that will add the cost to you now. You are not purchasing one ATM machine, 10,000 ATM machines. 10,000 ATM machines, if you go for high configured machines now, you understand what will be the cost. It is not like one simple factor. You are required to understand so many factors here. Okay? Fine, guys. So coming back, yeah, look at this. Multiple inheritance with interfaces. Read this point, guys. All of you remember this? Now read the next point. Read the next. See, the same scenario can repeat with interfaces also. The same scenario can repeat with interfaces also. But what did I say? Here ambiguity problem will come, but here ambiguity problem will not come. Why it won't come? Because you are consuming the members here, you are implementing the members. What is the difference? Suppose if class 3 is calling the test method, if class 3 is calling the test method, which test method should execute? Guys, answer me. If class 3 is calling the test method, which test method should execute? But if class 3 is implementing the test method, if class 3 is implementing the test method, ambiguity will not arise, guys. When class 3 is implementing the test method, ambiguity will not arise. Here, class 3 is not calling the test method. What is it doing? Implementing the method. Ambiguity will not arise. I'll show you practically. Watch. I will show you practically. Watch. Open Google, and just check the meaning of ambiguity. Ambiguity means confusion, yeah. Duplication, ambiguity, confusion, because confusion occurring because of duplication. Yeah, I'm declaring an interface called interface 1. Another interface called interface 2. I did not change the names here. Interface 1, interface 2 are the two interfaces are defined. In interface 1, I will write a method, void test. Okay, guys? In interface 2 also, I'll write a method, void test. So now tell me, both the interfaces contains a method called test, na? Now let us define one class here. I'm defining a class. I'm calling the call as IMPL class, nothing but implementation class. IMPL class, implementation class. This IMPL class basically it is implementing the interface 1, comma, interface 2. Static void main console.readline. Okay, guys. Guys, watch EMPL class. I'm going to call it. Now see, when I try this, am I getting 2 errors or not? You read the error list, guys. What the error list is telling you? What the error list is telling you, guys? Error list is telling you IMPL class did not implement the test 1 and implement the interface 1.test and interface 2.test. How many errors are coming? 2 errors are coming. 2 errors are coming. Okay. Now see, guys, I'm implementing the method public void test console.writeLine declared under multiple interfaces. Declared under multiple interfaces. All of you, observe it. See, the 2 errors are vanished here. But did I implement the method 2 times or only 1 time? I implemented the method only for 1 time, but still the error got vanished here. Why, sir? How the error got vanished? You implemented 1 time only. Simple common sense here. What interface is asking us to do? What interface is asking us to do? Implement my test method. Am I right? Yeah. What interface 2 is asking to do? Same, implement the test method. Now I implemented this method here. Now interface 1 looks into the class. Interface 1 looks into the class, finds the method. Happy, my method is implemented. Interface 2 looks into the class, finds the method. Happy, my method is implemented. So what is happening here, you know? Both the 2 interfaces are thinking, my method is only implemented. Are you clear? Interface 1 is thinking this is my method. Interface 2 is also thinking my method. So no ambiguity. But here, what is the problem, you know? In this scenario, what the problem is? When I call the class one, when I call the test method, when I call the test method here, okay, if class one thinks my test method is called and class one thinks my test method is called, you will be getting one result or two results. That is why ambiguity here. Two. Why one? Two results will come. That is why ambiguity here. That is why ambiguity. But here, we are not consuming, we are implementing. When we are implementing, when I implement the method for one time, both of them will think this is my method only. Because interface 1 don't know about interface 2 and interface 2 don't know about interface 1. Both are thinking my method is implemented and happy now. Did you guys clear why ambiguity will not arise? I'll tell you explicit implementation. Wait. Are you guys clear why ambiguity problem will not arise? Now see here, I can directly create the instance of my class and I can call the method also. I can directly create the instance of my class. IMPL class C is equals to new IMPL class and C dot test. See that it executes. Declared under multiple interfaces. Executed, no issues. Okay. Now watch this, guys. In interface 1, I'm writing one more method, void show. In interface 2 also, I'm writing one more method, void show. So both of them contains another method called as void show. Are you clear, guys? Okay. Now I can implement the method same like this now. I can implement the method same like this. But I want to show a separate thing. What is it? Tomorrow, I was asked in an interview like this. What this is? Implement the method separately for each interface. Implement the method separately for each interface. How can I implement the method separately for each interface? This is the place where explicit implementation comes into picture. This is the place where explicit implementation comes into picture. See now, interface 1.show and void interface 2.show. Are you guys clear? This is when we go for explicit implementation. So now I'm going for an explicit implementation right now. So when I go for an explicit implementation, so declared under interface 1, declared under interface 2. Okay. Now we'll have a doubt here. What is the doubt? Sir, don't we have a problem while calling now? When I try to call c.show, problem is there now? Yes or not? See guys, when I say c dot, the method show is not in the list at all. The method show is not in the list at all. Is that interface 1 in the list, Srikanth? And then now you're saying c dot interface 1 dot show. Guys, the method show is not in the list. Basically, one point understand. This method doesn't belong to the class. Even though you implement it here, this method doesn't belongs to the class at all. That's why c dot is not showing. Then these methods belongs to interface only. These methods belongs to interface only. Yeah. Then how to call them? We're required to call them by creating the reference of the interface. You're required to create the interface reference here. Interface 1, I1 is equals to C. Interface 2, I2 is equals to C. I1 dot show. I2 dot show. I1 dot show, I2 dot show. Executing C. Are you clear? Now you'll have a doubt. What is the doubt? Sir, can't we do the same thing here? You can call. You can call test with reference here. You can call I1 dot test. I1 dot test. I2 dot test. One implementation only na, same output will come. We can call, no issue. But one implementation only na, same output will come. Okay. Now what I'm telling you is to come back. Sir, can't we do the same thing here? When we have ambiguity, we will create a reference of the class 1 and call, create a reference of the class 2 and call. Why? But why is it not supporting? Why you're talking about abstract here? I did not ask you. What I'm asking is, sir, what technique you followed here? Can't I follow the same technique here? Why is it not supporting multiple inheritance? Did you catch my point? Here also, no, I'm not talking about implementation. Here also, to call this test method, without using class 3 instance, I can create a class 1 reference and class 2 reference and call na. Did you get my point, guys? Then why is it not supported here? Why is it not supported here? Because, listen once you inherit, calling is secondary. Put it aside. Once you inherit, every parent class member becomes a child class member. Yes or not? Once you inherit, every parent class member becomes a child class member. Yes or not? Can a class contain 2 members with the same signature? Can a class contain 2 methods with the same name and signature? I understand, yeah. About calling secondary, put it aside. But first point you understand, once I inherit, every parent class method will become a child class method. When it becomes a child class method, class 3 contains 2 test methods with the same name and signature. Compilation error. Are you guys clear? Compilation error will come up now. Calling is secondary, calling runtime, but compiling will not being done now. Okay, but when you come here, there is no implementation in the child class. We implemented it explicitly in the child class. That is why ambiguity will never arise to you. That is why ambiguity will never arise to you. Guys, are you clear? Read this. Read this, guys. Look at this picture and read that. Guys, done? Any doubts? You can see I've shown you the two interfaces. See the two interfaces. And now you see that test method implemented using first approach and show method implemented by using second approach. Created instance of class to call the test method. Created reference of the interfaces to call the show method. Okay, now? So that's how you just do it here. Guys, I'll give you another task. Another thing. I want you to watch another video. So till now, you have just watched up two videos. One is difference between string and string builder. Second video is about abstract class implementation, right? Yeah, I want you to watch this half an hour video, guys. I want to watch you this half an hour video about structures. About structures. This basically, this concept, the structures are not going to be that important for us in C#, yes, but we have structures. Generally, in interviews, there will be a question. In interviews, there will be a question. Difference between classes and structures. Difference between classes and structures. So for that reason, I just explained that particular concept to you. It will be about the differences between a class and a structure. Video number 21. I posted the URL here. Video number 21. I want you to watch it today only. It's a 30 minutes video, that's all. It is just a half an hour video. Watch it today and tomorrow we'll talk on them. Are you guys clear? See, wherever you have a doubt, just take a note of it. Take a note of it. Tomorrow, let me know. I will clarify all your doubts. Wherever you feel confusion, take a note. I will clarify all your questions in the next day. Sir, why you're asking us to watch the video? See, self-learning here. I want to make about self-learning. Because see, today, once you complete your course and go into the market, you should not again look back to Ameerpet again to learn something. You should have the capability of self-learning. I want to improvise that self-learning character to you. Are you getting me? Okay, for that reason only I'm asking you, watch it. You come out with your particular doubts. Tomorrow, if you study in any IEMs or IITs, do you know how the pattern will be there? Today, the lecturer will say, tomorrow we'll discuss on this particular topic. So first you study on that. So everyone on that day will be studying on that, and next day it will be like a question and answer session, that's all. You ask me a question, I'll reply for the appropriate thing, that's what. Till now, from the last 1.5 months, because 15 days I did not take the class, I was spoon feeding you, right? Last 1.5 months, I was spoon feeding you like anything. Okay? So just it's a time for you. You come on, you do it now. I'm just giving an option for you and you do it. Just study this one, watch the video, prepare a list of your doubts. I'll clarify all the things in the next class. Let me stop it here, guys. We'll meet tomorrow. Expected next Monday, 7 a.m. Ritesh. Next Monday, 7:30. 7:30 a.m. Okay? Okay, guys, bye. We'll be finished here maximum.